So with that, let's turn to Judges chapter 4, verse 12. When they told Sisera that Barak, son of Abinoam, had gone up to Mount Tabor, Sisera gathered together his 900 iron chariots and all the men with him from Harosheth Hagoyim to the Kishon River. Then Deborah said to Barak, "Go, this is the day the Lord has given Sisera into your hands. Has not the Lord gone ahead of you?" So Barak went down Mount Tabor, followed by 10,000 men. At Barak's advance, the Lord routed Sisera and all his chariots and army by the sword. And Sisera abandoned his chariot and fled on foot. But Barak pursued the chariots and army as far as Harosheth Hagoyim. All the troops of Sisera fell by the sword. Not a man was left. Sisera, however, fled on foot to the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite, because there were friendly relations between Jabin, king of Hatzor, and the clan of Heber the Kenite. Jael went out to meet Sisera and said to him, "Come, my lord, come right in. Don't be afraid." So he entered her tent, and she put a covering over him. "I'm thirsty," he said. "Please give me some water." She opened a skin of milk, gave him a drink, and covered him up. "Stand in the doorway of the tent," he told her. "If someone comes by and asks you, 'Is anyone here?' say no." But Jael, Heber's wife, picked up a tent peg and a hammer and went quietly to him while he lay fast asleep, exhausted. She drove the peg through his temple into the ground, and he died. Barak came by in pursuit of Sisera, and Jael went out to meet him. "Come," she said, "I will show you the man you're looking for." So he went in with her, and there lay Sisera with the tent peg through his temple, dead. On that day God subdued Jabin, the Canaanite king, before the Israelites, and the hand of the Israelites grew stronger and stronger against Jabin, the Canaanite king, until they destroyed him. And now continuing on with chapter 5, verse 19. Kings came, they fought. The kings of Canaan fought at Tanakh by the waters of Megiddo, but they carried off no silver, no plunder. From the heavens the stars fought. From their courses they fought against Sisera. The river Kishon swept them away. The age-old river, the river Kishon. March on, my soul, be strong. Then thundered the horses' hoofs, galloping, galloping go his mighty steeds. Curse Meroz, said the angel of the Lord. Curse its people bitterly, because they did not come to help the Lord against the mighty. Most blessed of women be Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite. Most blessed of tent-dwelling women. He asked for water, and she gave him milk. In a bowl fit for nobles, she brought him curdled milk. Her hand reached for the tent peg, her right hand for the workman's hammer. She struck Sisera, she crushed his head, she shattered and pierced his temple. At her feet he sank, he fell, there he lay. At her feet he sank, he fell. Where he sank, there he fell, dead. Through the window peered Sisera's mother. Behind the lattice she cried out, "Why is his chariot so long in coming? Why is the clatter of his chariots delayed?" The wisest of her ladies answered her. Indeed, she keeps saying to herself, "Are they not finding and dividing the spoils? A girl or two for each man? Colorful garments as plunder for Sisera, colorful garments embroidered, highly embroidered garments for my neck. All this as plunder. So may all your enemies perish, O Lord, but may they who love you be like the sun when it rises in its strength." Then the land had peace 40 years. This is the word of the Lord. On Thursday, I got a message from our church receptionist, Andy Allen. Those of you who know him know he's an amazingly dear brother and normally a very cheerful spirit, but his voice was shaking a little bit as he told me that there were a bunch of men outside the church waiting for me. and they wanted to know who I was calling a sissy. When Andy said that, he could sense that I was not eager to go out to meet these men, and he could tell right away that I'm the one who's the sissy. But you're right, I've received a lot of teasing about the title for this morning's message, Sissified Christianity. It's a title, though, that it seemed to me captures well some of the principal points of the passage that I read, as well as earlier verses in chapter 5, where we discover that unlike Jael, many others in that day responded the way a sissy might, holding back, refusing to join the battle, to stand with God's people in being a part of his means of bringing judgment against the Canaanites in a very difficult situation, in a situation where they were actually putting their lives at risk. We'll be talking about that. A couple of weeks ago, we looked at this passage in order to highlight the role of this remarkable woman, Deborah, who is described in ways that echo Moses, actually. In fact, there are over a dozen parallels, and we looked at many of them to highlight that honored status that she has. But this morning, I want to look at the other woman, in some ways the true heroine of the story, this woman, Jael. Jael, the wife of Heber. Jael, who is surely one of the most misunderstood characters in the Bible. I think for this reason, there are very few young women in our day, even in Christian circles where everyone's hunting for biblical names, that get called Jael. And it isn't because of the associations with the House of Corrections. It's because the Jael of the Bible, at least according to the popular understanding, is far more of a villain than some kind of marvelous example and hero. In any case, we want to look at her story this morning, and just to begin with, acknowledge that, the standard view is to sort of trip over the ethics of Jael. One scholar, for example, writes of our passage that these are rough times of which we are reading, when human flesh was cheap. Such evil deeds cannot be justified or defended. They can only be understood, and even that just dimly, on the basis of a ruthless age, in so intense a concern for Israel's life and faith that whatever contributed to that end was condoned. In other words, we can summarize, the ends justify the means. And that's the only way to explain Jael. Another commentator writes, to us, the morality of Jael's deeds appears reprehensible, and from a Christian point of view, cannot be justified. But we must recall the intense feeling that prevailed in Israel against the Canaanites, who were blamed by the prophets for misleading the nation again and again. Well, these folks, I guess my response to them is speak for yourself. I don't think this is at all a necessary view of Jael. In fact, I think it's a total misunderstanding of what's going on. It's true, there are some troubling aspects to what Jael does. In fact, we can summarize the complaints under 3 headings. First of all, it is alleged that Jael is a treacherous liar who deliberately misled Sisera. Secondly, we are told that Jael broke the ancient rules of hospitality, or actually worse, she broke her covenant commitments, a covenant commitment to Sisera. And thirdly, and worst of all, Jael committed an absolutely gruesome, premeditated murder in cold blood that took unfair advantage of Sisera's trust and weakened condition. And of course, if all those things are true, then we must wonder, well, what's it doing here in the Bible? And standard, even very earnest Bible believers will respond that, well, hey, there are a lot of things in the Bible that are reported inerrantly in terms of the Bible's authority, but are not necessarily recommended. A description is not necessarily a prescription.